That looks right to me. That looks like we're going.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Podcast number 2. I am here with special guest Ryan Hutsell. This is going to be a fun podcast. There may be like 3 different volumes in this podcast, so stay with us. I'm going to turn the metronome off because I'm about to go crazy. And this podcast is brought to you by Jared P. Dot, who is apparently going to run the whole show. So,
I
what do you
would,
want to talk about?
hey, I wouldn't go that far, but in your introduction, you forgot to say that I was here and was going to be a part of it. You just wanted to highlight Ryan for some reason. It's like, hey, everybody, I'm here with Ryan Hutsell, and here's my brother in the middle. He's doing nothing.
Yeah, Jared sucks.
Okay.
Well, well, Ryan,
Jared
welcome. Good to
sucks.
see you. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is really awkward leaning forward. I should get better chairs for you. I apologize. If you need to hold it, you can, but okay. Well, go ahead, Jared. What do you want to talk about?
Well, the first thing that I had here in my notes is I didn't know if you wanted to talk to Ryan about the phone call that you made to me. I think it was Tuesday night on the way home from work, where you had like this deep
Yeah.
sadness in your voice when you're on the phone with me.
So this week, Ryan, I flew my drone into the lake. And I found out that drones are not waterproof and they're really hard to find when you don't watch it go down.
That's not good, man.
It's not good. It's really bad. We never found it, which is unfortunate, but I've already purchased a new one, so I'm super excited about that. Oh geez, the pups are out. We got a new DJI Mini number 2. But yeah, so I was flying it over some ducks. I'm not sure if a duck flew into it or if it just lost control.
I
But
think it was probably your shit flying.
there's a chance. There's a chance.
But with that being said, you were able to pull the spare change out of the couch and out of your car console to go buy a new one.
Yeah, I pulled out my change jar. I had $404 and some change in it. Fun fact, I guess the bank doesn't take Canadian quarters anymore. I even pulled some of my Canadian coins out and threw them in there, but no good on that one. All right, quick intermission there. The pups got out. They came down, bothered us for a second. So, yes, the drone is gone. New drone is here. It's officially ready. I flew it for the first time in the basement the other night, which is actually probably not a good place to test
I was
fly your
going to
drone.
say, did you crash it? Hit anything?
No, it's in good shape still, but yeah, not the best place to try out your brand new drone is in a place with 4 foot, 4 foot above. I don't know what I'm trying to say. 8
It's-
foot ceilings.
What he's trying to say is Ethan is actually a hobbit. He lives in a 4-foot ceilinged house, and so it was a real bad place for him to try to fly his new drone. So his 4-foot ceilings.
Yeah,
So I wanted to kind of recap some of this week here. So Ethan had the opportunity to visit DNR for I think you called it a restock or a like a breeding session of Muskies.
yeah. It was a pretty neat experience with the DNR. So this was another thing I was going to tell you, Ryan, is that this week I was able to go out with the Indiana DNR. Took the day off of work, went out there, and basically they had set up some nets and caught a bunch of muskies, and we took those muskies out of the nets along with a bunch of bycatch, and then we just took them back to this like little shop that they had set up, and we were able to extract some eggs and some semen from these fish and mix them, and then hopefully breed these fish and be able to produce new muskies for the lakes all across Indiana that are popular for muskies. They release them into these lakes, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be an awesome. It was an awesome experience, but I think it's going to be awesome for these lakes and really good for the fishery. So
So tell us a little bit about how like you were able to like do this. I mean, this isn't something that just some guy could be like, "Hey, I want to go, catch some
yeah.
muskies and breed them and that kind of stuff." Like, how were you able to get the opportunity to be able to be a part of this?
Once in a lifetime, honestly, experience. But I do some engineering work, and I'm doing a resurfaced parking lot for this fish hatchery that I'm working on. And I met some people, and they were just telling me kind of about what they do last fall when I met them, or summer. And they mentioned some stuff about muskies, and I said, man, if you guys get out there and do muskies, I need to be a part of it. So I just reached back out, got your name out there. It's all about who you know and just the right timing. And they offered up a spot in the boat for me. They put me to work for the day, and it was a really neat experience. That day we ended up catching 27 different muskies. We had 2 ripe females. We were a little early, so a lot of the females had eggs, but they weren't, able to produce those eggs yet. but within a little more time, it should be good. So they usually collect a couple million eggs a year, and we were only able to get
shit,
40
couple million eggs.
couple million eggs. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is more toward the end of the questions that I had. For you folks at home, I actually, after Ethan was telling me about this, I actually had like a list of questions that I printed out because I was trying to figure out how all this stuff kind of played in. But when it comes to the eggs themselves, you said 500,000 or 1 million?
It's a couple million. I mean,
Couple million.
1 to 2, I think.
Per fish?
No, per season.
Okay, what did they say like what the estimated amount was that would come out of each fish?
I think 1 quart is 45,000, and it's like each fish can get about half a quart or something along those lines. I'm no egg expert, but it was a pretty neat experience getting to see all the eggs come out of the fish, and happening to electroshock them so that you can kind of treat them with respect and not accidentally drop them or anything. But you just give them a quick shock, it stuns them, paralyzes them just quick enough you can get the eggs out, and then you put them right back into the holding tanks, and they're good to go.
That was something else I was going to ask. So, like, when you say shock 'em, I'm thinking like a defibrillator or like a cattle prod. So, what are you talking like shock 'em? Are you?
So there was a really long stick, and I don't know, I'm no electrician either, but it just had like a probe on the end of it in the water, and then it shocks the whole water. So
it shocks the water. You don't
yeah.
actually like touch the fish with the electricity.
No, you'd have got zapped. You'd have been fried. You'd have been upside down in that tank of water too.
But after that, they come out of it. So it's not something it's not like an inhumane way of them to be able to collect eggs. This is something that's tried and true that does not hurt the fish, and they will be able to be released.
It all depends on who you ask, but I mean, it hurts the fish, but it's for a short term and it's for the benefit of the fish. The other option is you kill the fish and you cut the eggs out, or you do it while they're alive and maybe you can feel it. It's like saying, you want to have, open heart surgery without the little anesthetic or anything? It just doesn't sound that fun to me.
I don't know. It could be pretty interesting though.
Anyways,
how often do they do this?
It's usually in Indiana, where I was at, the end of March, 1st of April, and if they don't do it right away, they miss it just because the water temperatures get too hot, and the fish will die then if it'll stress them out. But early April into March, those kind of times is when the fish are starting to get ripe and they have those eggs and they're ready to produce those eggs. So it's very time sensitive.
I think you're saying that, like, the water temperature is what the big issue is. Like, you have to be in a specific range for the temperature of the water for it to be right.
Yeah, that's part of it. But just the overall process, when the water temperature is right, they're spawning at the same time. They go hand in hand. But you ever caught a muskie?
Nope.
No muskies. Well, we'll have to change that this year. We'll get you out there in the old SS below me. That's my John boat name. It's it's fit for 1, maybe 2 people, but I think the 3 of us big sausages will get out there.
We'll get these ballpark franks in that boat.
Yeah.
For sure.
But,
So when it came to at this opportunity, you were able to go there, and you said you had two different boats. One boat was they're just both going out there to get the fish, or
there was an observation boat, which luckily I wasn't in that. It would have been a fine experience, but you're just observing what's going on. And then I was able to be in the collection boat. So the collection boat's where you were actually getting into those nets, pulling the nets out. It's a one boat kind of job, but that single boat needs to have a crew. There was 5 to 6 of us on the boat, and it actively takes all of us because some of the nets had lots of bycatch in them. And if you're getting lots of bycatch, I mean, one of the nets probably had 1,000, 2,000 panfish in it. So that's another big thing is a lot of the bass fishermen out there will say that muskie will single-handedly ruin a fishery. I can tell you that is no longer true after seeing thousands and thousands of panfish. It's also neat, the perch in there were fully egged up and they were spawning hardcore. It's pretty neat to see. Some of the perch looked like they had swallowed because they're perch, not very big, but like a big marble or something.
So I have questions about that, but hold on. So when it comes to the boats, the people that you were with, are they all like DNR employees, or is this like one guy that's in charge of DNR, like the breeding part, and then he has some of his buddies that come help? I mean, what's that process?
So most of the people were DNR officials or wildlife biologists. I think everybody there really worked for the state. There was me and one other guy, he was just a passionate musky fisherman. He was able to go out there with us and, explore the waters and just have a good time collecting these muskies. He has a passion for catching them. He was telling me he's caught 150 or so of them. And, it's an amazing experience, but.
I gotcha. So
This guy.
So how often does this happen? Is this something
like
they do
Ryan said, once a year.
just once a year, or is this something you could do in the spring and the fall? Because don't
Just-
they have
well,
have eggs in the spring and the fall, don't they?
I think it's just the spring, but what they do is you don't want to miss it. So like right now, they're going out there collecting these eggs, and they're just going to keep doing this until they get enough. So luckily they're early, because if you go late, you're going to miss it completely. But they'll just go out there and hope. They said 1 year it takes 2 days. The next year it could take 2-3 weeks, but they'll just keep pounding the water until they get it all done. They said 1 year. So like I said, we caught 27, but 1 year they had 144 in one day. And so, 144 fish, if they're ripe, can really produce a lot of eggs quickly.
What if they just get all females?
Well, that's actually not really possible, but it's very possible to get all males. Of the 27 fish we got, I don't know exactly, but it seemed like 5 to 7 of them were females, and 2 were ripe, like I said. So it's a weird thing. I don't think it's possible to get all of one sex, but for some reason, the majority of the fish that you catch are males. And then I learned a lot about that. It seems like, for every female, there's 5 or 6 male muskies just chasing her around. But still pretty neat. And the other cool thing about it was that these fish were tagged. I had no idea that they were tagging these fish out there, but the muskies on this lake, they had been tagging them, and they put this giant needle right below their back fin, and they insert this little like tic tac, and it's able to be read by just the same kind of little device that you can check dogs for. They put it in like a dog neck or something. But yeah, you can get one off Amazon for like $25-$30, and you can have it in your boat all the time, and you just report back to the DNR, and they'll tell you all you want to know about that fish. Last time it was caught, the size of it. It's a pretty neat process. They've been doing it for like 5 to 10 years now. So again, of the 27, I bet you 20, 22 of them had been tagged already. And I caught 6 the first year I went. I didn't catch any last year, but of those 6, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a handful of them that had been tagged. But I had no clue, because it's an internal tag. You can't actually see it on the fish.
Is there some type of device that you can get? So like if you're tracking your dog or whatever, you can pull your phone up and like see where your dog's at. Is there some type of app or device you can get, so if you do catch one, you like just run it over that tracking device, and it lets you know the information on that fish?
That would be neat, but I don't think there's much on it other than you can just scan over it and it'll give you a number, and then you have to report back to the DNR and they'll give you the rest of the information. It's not like a satellite tag where you can say there's a fish off the coast of wherever and you can pinpoint it exactly. But it's one step in the right direction, and hopefully someday the DNR will hand out some of these tag readers to some of the more avid fishermen that hunt down these muskies constantly.
That would be wicked sweet. That'd be really cool. Because what you could do, if instead of doing a taxidermy on it, you could do some type of like placard for that fish, and you could see how many times you could catch it over and over again and over again. You're like, I caught this same fish out of this lake 6 times.
Yeah, it's pretty neat too, because they have done that, and that's another thing, is that when they catch these fish 3, 4, 5 times in the nets, a lot of people will say, well, you're probably killing these fish after doing that, but studies have shown that they have caught the same fish 3, 4, 5 times. It's producing eggs multiple times, so you're not really actually affecting these fish in a negative way. They're going to be stressed out for a couple days, but then they'll be good to go.
So something I was thinking about too there, and I wanted to ask you. So you talk about like these like hatcheries and stuff. So I noticed that when they process the eggs as well as the semen, they do use that like feather. That's another one of my questions.
Turkey feather.
Yeah. So what was the deal with that? As well as my second. Don't forget both these. My second question is, the place that you were at, is that the hatchery, or do they take those eggs somewhere else so that the fish can fully mature?
So the turkey feather is just because it's, a stiff feather, but it's still kind of dainty. That's my take from it. It's just that they need something to stir them.
It's not going to hurt the egg or anything?
Not really. There was some processing to it where they were letting the eggs swell and like absorb water. That way they're not so fragile. Because if you do something with them right now, they're probably just going to bust and break. And then the second question I already forgot. Oh, the hatchery. Actually, I don't know what's going on here. I'm just
No,
here.
the hatchery.
But there's actually a Musky guide out there, and he has allowed the DNR to rent a shed off of him. And inside that shed, they have a fully set up, kind of lab, if you will, with stainless steel tables and tanks, etc., and all good to go. So basically, the eggs are processed in there, and then I don't know if they went back to the fish hatchery I'm working on, but ultimately they go down south to, I think it was Washington, Indiana, or something along those lines, somewhere down south in Indiana where they get raised there. The fish hatchery I work on, or am working on, is mostly walleye there, and they do a lot of walleye. They raise them to be like 5 to 7 inches, and then they release them. I think they also do some trout as well, but for some reason, just the one up north is not well suited for the muskies.
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you have the exact measurements, but what would be the egg to semen ratio that they try to accomplish there? Because I seen in the video, Ethan will link that video to the bottom of this pod. I seen them, kind of, fill the bowl with the eggs, and then I didn't really see where they added the semen part of it. But I feel like there has to be a specific ratio to have a more positive amount of hatches.
Now, I don't know the exact ratio, but I can tell you, just basic comparison, it's like a watermelon worth of eggs and one drop of semen. One drop. It was quite wild how they pushed on the female forever to get eggs, and then the
Oh, I
male.
noticed that. I noticed that in the video. It was like
Yeah.
quick.
It was one drop. If you watch it, you'll see one drop drip off the tail, and it's white, so you can tell that it's definitely not just water. But that was it. It was just quick, done deal. And we got like 6 or 7 males that we were going to try in case one of them wasn't able to produce, but it was super easy. So,
No, hold on. I just lost my spot. I'm sorry about that, guys. I just lost my spot. So the other thing I wanted to know about was how long does this process actually take? So from you guys, getting on the boat to go out there and kind of, did they explain to you what the behind the scenes stuff was for them to be able to go out there that day? So obviously they had to put the nets in, and you talk a little bit about that in the video, but when they put the nets in, is there bait and stuff in the net, and just from there?
so it was about a 6-hour process from when I was there. However, I'm not sure how long it takes to put the nets out, but super easy to put the nets out. I believe it just takes a little time, assuming there's no wind. So they put the nets out in a shallower spot of the lake, 5-10 feet deep, and then basically it just makes a wall. So it's kind of like the edge of the lake, and these fish will swim along the edge of the lake, and then they see the net, and they swim along the edge of the net, and ultimately they'll swim into the part that's a trap. Technically, these fish could turn around and swim back out, but they're not necessarily smart enough to know to turn around and swim out. So when you pull up the net, it's enormous. I mean, it's like 10 or 15 feet wide, and it's kind of like a big rectangle there. So it can hold thousands of fish, not thousands of muskies, but thousands of panfish. And, you can go out there and you could probably check a couple nets pretty quickly, but, with camera crews, because we had some camera people out there, we had people trying to explore the experience like I was, just seeing what all there was out there. It was a slower day. And then we also had wind at the end of the day. It was starting to get up to 20 mile an hour. And the last net, I was actually in, the little lab there trying to breed the muskies. But the last net, they just blew right over and had to just cut everything loose. It was no good there. But, if you were hustling, you could probably be at a net and back to the, the little lab area, the love shack, if you will. That's kind of what they called it. That's where they were breeding all the muskies at. But
Love Shack, I like that.
But yeah, 6 hours. I think it was 6 or 7 nets that we ran that day. But I'm sure the initial sitting them out is quite a process, but nothing too crazy.
Interesting. So how do they know? How do they know where to put the nets? Is it just
Well,
kind of an educated guess, or
sometimes, but most of the, a lake 6, 7, 800 acres, it only has so many areas where you've got this perfect condition of like a flat ledge that's 5 to 10 feet deep in an acre's worth of spot. So most lakes are a big bowl. Once you get out, a couple feet out, then it just drops off. So any of these lakes, it just so happened this lake had about 5 to 6 spots that worked out perfectly. And then they were telling me about some other lakes that they want to try, but there's just no setup. because you can't just put a net out in 20 feet of water because these fish won't swim along the edge of it. They would just, go wherever they feel rather than straight towards the trap.
I got you. I got you. So in total, so with the time that you said, set up that kind of thing, and the time that you were out there, from when you guys are totally done and you have the eggs fertilized, at what point is the time frame for the fish to go back out to the water? Because they go to the hatcheries. How long does that take for them to fully grow to a mature muskie to be able to be put back into the lake? And do they get put back into the same lake?
So I don't know all the specifics. I think they were shooting for releasing some of them in the fall, but they were saying it's not really exact because some of the weather. I think it's not exactly likely they're going to go back in the fall because they're not going to be at the right size. They want them to be that 10, 11 inches because that's kind of the prime size where they're going to have a better survival rate. But we'll see what ends up happening, and then they go back into this lake heavily, and then there's a few other lakes in the county that I believe they give them to. But there's also an interesting fact that some years other states do not have the musky eggs or population that Indiana gets. Same with walleye, etc. So the DNR will actually trade with other states. We don't necessarily give our fish away, but they told me that they trade. So if we're lacking in walleye and they've got musky, we'll trade, or vice versa, etc. So it's a pretty neat process, and honestly, I applaud the DNR, and I had no idea how much work they were truly doing, but your license dollars are used extremely well in this aspect for sure.
Very cool. So do you think that the trading, fish to the different states, that's how peacock bass got to Florida? Florida was just like
some drunk hillbilly
Florida was just like, hey man, I know you got a couple of them brown trouts. We got a couple brown trouts. We'll trade you some of these peacock bass. And the guy in Florida was like, yeah, we'll take peacock bass. Bring them over here. Now they're all over the place.
Well, they released peacocks to fight the invasive tilapias and
yeah, it backfired.
The cichlids. Well, now the peacock bass are heavily taking over. You've caught peacock, haven't you?
No, I have not.
What?
Nope.
Didn't you go to Florida?
Yeah, we didn't go fishing.
Yeah, we didn't go to the Everglades. We just we went down
chilled at the beach.
Yeah,
Why would you go to Florida?
We drank beer at the beach. That's what we did.
You went to Florida and didn't go fishing. All right. Well, you're off the podcast now. You can leave. All right.
All right, bye.
So to kind of sum all this up and to sum up this trip that you had, is this something that you will be able to be a part of when they put the fish back in the lakes?
Maybe. I doubt it on this particular case because I think you just drive the truck up and you release them. I don't think there's much to see or do there. No testing. It's probably all done well beforehand at the hatchery. But I did ask that if they end up having any more unique situations that they want to, have someone from the outside either do a little media press on like I've done on YouTube or just someone that you want to share it with. I asked that if they do electroshocking, I'd love to be a part of that, just be in the boat for one day and watch them shock for bass or walleye or whatever, pull those fish up and see what's all in the lake. As well as I think it would be neat to do a northern pike survey or walleye, but mostly pike because you hear about a lot of northern pike in this area, but I struggle to catch them. I think they're more of a deep water fish, and I'm not the best at deep water fishing. So it would be a neat thing to see, but we'll see. A lot of that, I believe, is in the fall. So I might reach out later this year and try to touch base with them.
That's cool. That's cool. So is this something that you might be able to be a part of again next year? I mean, have you planted that seed with the fellow DNR? Like, hey, let me come back.
I think they had a good time with me. They enjoyed having me out there. There wasn't one negative thing said, and I think they could tell that my true passion lies in fishing, and they can appreciate that.
So did they give you any pointers on where some of the best fishing was?
They may not have given me pointers on the best fishing, but I was taking notes. I seen where they put those nets at, so I know where they're swimming now.
There you go. Did you get your phone out and start putting dots on your your
yeah.
Apple Maps?
It's pretty cool, They put out 6, 7 nets, like I said. This one's got 3, that one's got 2, this one's got 1, and we pulled one up that had 12. So where do you think I'm gonna be fishing?
Probably one where there's 2.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. All right. That's enough about muskies for now. Apparently Jared has a commercial break, so let's just dive into this.
Hey everybody.
This is gonna go bad already. Go ahead.
What would it cost for a one sunny Saturday at Indiana Beach? Open in 1926 and home to Northern Indiana, the Indiana Beach. Parking free. 1 day ride pass $39.99 per person. 1 day water pass $19.99 per person. A corn dog $4, a soft drink $3, elephant ear $5, arcade barn allowance $40. Obviously, with a total summer Saturday at the Indiana Beach being approximately $111.98
What are you talking about?
per person. So if you want to have fun in the sun, visit Indiana Beach in Monticello, Indiana.
That
Thank
is
you.
definitely not going in the podcast.
That was good, man.
No, I'm vetoing
That's what it would cost for one fun day in the sun.
What you
What,
should have
back in the
done is said,
90s?
Well, no, that's
What-
now price. I looked it up on there. That's what the prices are
no,
now.
what you should have said is, what would it cost to have one sunny summer day with Ethan Price in his John boat?
Priceless.
9.9 horses of fury, 14 feet of aluminum majesty, 4 feet wide, 45 pounds of amazing trolling motor thrust, 5 inches of fish finder fun.
I do like that. Keep going. I like that. Keep going. I like that.
This is trash. We're going to cut this part.
And out of all of that, you don't even have to pay for lures because he buys them and you can lose them for free.
That's Jared.
Yeah.
I know all about that.
4 gallons of gasoline. All right. We're going to move on.
Good.
All right, this portion's all about our guest, honestly. I don't know why we started out with me, but I want to ask Ryan some stuff. Tell me about your trip this summer that Jared's been bragging about forever.
Oh yeah, I was bragging about it. I
We
didn't
went
get a
to-
show. I didn't get a show.
No, next
No.
summer.
The one you're getting ready to do.
Oh, we're going.
This is cool, dude. You need to show him pictures. This place.
We're
is
going
badass.
to Springfield, on
Illinois?
Illinois, and it's a 8 to 10 acres,
Private?
private.
Oh, God.
But they got some killer freaking bass over 5 pounds.
Yeah, they got pictures of it. Like
Yeah.
they posted pictures of it for him.
Like, is it pretty
They stopped.
common to catch them?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you
It's
think
a-
you'll catch them?
It's
Oh, yeah.
Airbnbs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people are going with you?
12.
And how many does it sleep? Do you see where I'm going with this?
12.
Well, no, it,
No, 15.
Sleeps 50.
there's room for me and Jared.
And there's a barn.
Yeah, it's
so
like a party barn.
We're not necessarily family, but we're kind of like family. So
come on, let's go.
come on, let's go. When is it?
End of May, the week before Memorial Day.
The week before Memorial Day?
That whole week, yeah.
That's a little early, but actually no, it's not. That's probably right when spawnings happen. You're gonna slay some bass.
I
man.
hope so, man. My luck, it's gonna be like snowing. That would be my luck.
Where's Springfield? Is that Southern Illinois?
Center.
Center Illinois? Okay.
Middle.
Anything else in this pond?
Bluegill.
Probably some bluegill.
Probably some weeds.
Weeds.
Some sticks.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be weeds and sticks, but
Hey, I guarantee you that there's going to be some of Ryan's lures in there too.
No,
He'll leave 'em there for the next
that'd
person.
Be my other family.
Your other
they
family.
leaving you a boat?
Paddle boat
There's a John boat.
John
Show it. It's a
boat.
John boat.
and some kayaks.
Kayaks. That's fun, I suppose. I would probably avoid the paddle boat at all expenses,
Yeah,
but
you don't want to be any part of a paddle boat.
I'll take it out there.
No, you don't want to.
I'm telling
You
you,
will
paddle
regret
boats
That's
should
why you
never
gotta
have been
bring
invented.
a smaller guy, and he can do all
Bring
the
two
paddling.
smaller guys, and then you sit in the back, so they both paddle.
Doing a wheelie. I've been there.
Let's do it.
That little sun dolphin doing a wheelie
Sun
He
across the
told me
lake.
about that one.
I'm glad that one's gone. I see them for sale all the time online, and I just think, man, I'm so glad that's gone.
That was our past lives.
Yeah. So tell me about this guy's trip. How long you been doing it?
Well, we've been doing it the last 3 years.
3 years. And I want to hear, just because I love hearing the story. Tell me about the Hayward, Wisconsin one.
I don't even want to talk about that one.
Temperature
Over 100
every day.
every day.
Hard to believe it gets to be 100 in
Yeah.
the north woods of
Yeah,
Wisconsin,
it
but
was horrible.
horrible.
And
you guys
the
caught
biggest fish I caught was a bass this big.
about 5 inches,
5
4 or 5
inches,
inches.
That's a minnow.
That's incredible, man. That's about what I catch daily here. So 4 or 5 inches.
It was horrible.
Well, at least you were able to go up there. It's beautiful up there.
Oh yeah.
Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
see any good wildlife?
No.
Really? Well, I guess when it's 100, they're probably sleeping.
They're like, screw this.
Yeah, we went
Yeah.
up Labor Day, so September-ish time when I was in Hayward, and we've seen lots of bald eagles. I don't remember if it's elk or moose, but there's a lot of sign for them. We didn't end up
Mhm.
seeing those. Seen lots of turkeys, some deer, a couple muskies. I didn't catch any muskies, but that was a fun trip. Hopefully, we should go.
I would go back. Well,
I
Let's
would.
as
do-
long as
hey.
it's not 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get old man P Dot out there and let's just do a dude trip.
Yeah, the four
They
sausages.
even
and
Four
left-
one.
sausages
They
in
left
this
us at
jumbo.
pontoon, so that was a good time.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, if you got a bunch of people in a pontoon, that would be fun. But yeah, I'm planning on going back up there. The wife doesn't really like Wisconsin. She says don't really go up there and catch anything. So I need to prove her wrong because every time I've gone up there, it's a blast, but the fishing's not the best. I've never hit it at the right time, or I just suck at fishing. Probably the second one.
What's the prime time for that area then?
I don't know. Probably any time of the year is probably good. I'm
Just
probably
don't go when I
suck.
went.
Unless it's 100, then it's
When-
probably trash.
They said the week before they were catching them left and right.
Yeah, pike, walleye,
Hmm
really.
Everything.
That's-
Musky.
What do you remember? What lake? Because I went to the Spider chain of lakes.
I'll
or
have to
something.
look it up. I can't remember.
There's so many different flowages
yeah.
up there, or flowage or something like that they call them. But yeah, there's a ton of the lakes up there are beautiful, and they're borderline untouched. Like most of the shoreline is natural shoreline.
Mhm.
It's pretty neat. But and then second year, where'd you go?
We went to Little Nashville. 12 acres. 12-acre pond.
Was that Airbnb too?
Uh,
Did you catch any?
a bunch of bluegill. A handful of bass.
Are you guys keeping those and eating them then, or
There we couldn't.
you could
Mhm.
is a catch and release?
Now the one in Springfield.
How are they gonna know?
Cameras, dude.
Oh, they had over it
Oh,
quite a bit.
they did.
Oh yeah,
The cameras,
Oh,
the
they have-
perverts.
all over the property.
That's a little strange.
They said it wasn't in the house, but
They had them above the urinals.
probably.
Well, at least you were able to catch some fish, though. What do you think year 4 will have? 25-acre pond?
Hopefully.
What did you tell me the other day? You were like, yeah, right after the trip, my uncle he sits there and he scrolls on
Yeah.
Airbnb.
On the way home. Where can we go next?
Yeah, looking for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
don't
cool.
blame him. Yeah. I would like to be part of this trip, though, so gonna have to find a spot for me.
You can just jump in the back of the truck.
That's fine.
So-
I can drive myself. I don't even care. I just love to fish, if you didn't
you
know
could
that.
be Ryan's +1.
That's all right. I can put a
Sorry,
wig
Jared.
on.
Sorry, Jared.
That's all right, man. I'll hold back. You don't want to see me fishing anyway. I'm not that good at it. I'm only good at killing ducks.
No, you're not good at that. You're good at losing lures.
I am good at that, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm definitely good at that.
Yeah.
I can lose my fair share of lures. Probably as much as Dad, too.
What else you want to talk about? Or is that it? No more commercial breaks?
we don't have no more commercial breaks, no. That's it, man.
Okay. All right.
I got something else, but I'm gonna save it for the next pod because it's real good.
All right, y'all. Well, you heard it here. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. I know.
Thank you.
I know it wasn't a lot, and you don't mean that. You hated it, but that's all right.
No, it was
Let's
great.
go back to Walmart real quick and walk around, do a couple laps.
Ryan drove up here 2 hours with my brother, and the first thing we did was go walk around Walmart for about an hour. I needed some batteries and some splitters for this thing, but we made it work. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed podcast number dos. Working on my Spanish. We'll catch you on the next podcast. P. Podcast. Peace, y'all.
Peace,
Peace.
y'all.